In this episode of In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, we catch up with offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. And he knows that he has got a tough-minded, physically tough quarterback that inspires his other teammates. As a former offensive lineman, I know that it elevates everybody else's level of play. This guy is special with a capital S. We'll talk to Coach Callahan about what took place against the Tennessee Titans, what happened in that regular season encounter with the Kansas City Chiefs, 34-31 classic, an instant classic right there. Both teams played at an exceptionally high level. And we'll talk about the upcoming matchup in the AFC Championship Game at Arrowhead Stadium, the loudest outdoor stadium I think I've ever been in. And they set the bar. The Chiefs set the standard in the AFC. Can the Bengals knock them off that perch? We shall see. Welcome once again to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. We're in our magnificent studios as always. We have a magnificent guest. And right in the middle of a busy day, a big game planning day, as the Bengals get ready, the AFC Championship match with the Kansas City Chiefs out there at Arrowhead Stadium. Offensive coordinator Brian Callahan is carving a few minutes to join us. And Coach, can't thank you enough. You're a great man, sir.
Of course, it was good to join you for a few minutes when I got time.
Appreciate it very much. Let's talk first about the victory in Tennessee. Obviously, they made it difficult. I mean, Mike Vrabel and his staff, they put together a pretty good defensive game plan. What were some of the things that they did that was out of the norm as you guys prepared for them to play in that football game?
Nothing really out of the norm for them. The second half, they started playing a little more kind of two-man type coverage to Jamar, play a little more two-man coverage in general, trying to take away some of the quick game and make us hold the ball so they could try to get the rush home, which they did a really good job of over the course of the game. But you know what they did on tape, we had seen some of it. They had some really hellacious games and stunts up front that were challenging for us to handle. It's a really good front on defense. The secondary did a good job. They disguised coverages, so there's just a lot of moving parts. They don't really call the same coverage very often back to back. So they just sort of roll through calls and you never get a real good feel for what call they're in, and they disguise. And it's good. They do a good job on defense. There's a reason they're the number one seed. And there's a reason they play good on defense all year long.
So up front, I noticed they had 7 in the box quite a bit, and they'd only bring 4, but you never knew which 4. And then they, like you said, twist and stunt and do all those kind of things as well. Did the crowd noise play a factor in that in terms of identification, communication, and all those things? And if it was a factor, the fact that you went through that and experienced it in Tennessee, will that help you as you go to Kansas City and play in what is the loudest outdoor stadium that I've ever experienced, I think?
Yeah, me too. It's a great place to play. I'm excited to go play there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely things that come up over the course of a game on the road when it's that loud. Where you end up with, you might have a communication error or two. You try to limit them as much as possible. But that's the advantage of being the home team in the playoffs and having that atmosphere in your favor. When you're on the road, you got to deal with those things. And, the defense has to deal with it too. They have to communicate as well in the noise. But it's definitely an advantage for them. And those are the things that, after feeling what a playoff atmosphere feels like on the road, I think we're much more prepared to go into Arrowhead and play well. In a really loud, hostile environment, because it'll be all of that. That'll be the most hostile environment we've played in. But to our guys' credit, we've been pretty good on the road. Our guys respond well. That we play well on the road. We generally execute well on the road. So it's going to be a challenge, like it always is. But I feel really confident in our ability to go out and take care of the things that we need to be good on offense.
Did you guys lose communication with Joe? Was the headset communication issue? Was it a real deal? And how long did it last?
It went out probably, I can't remember exactly what part of the game, probably third quarter sometime, maybe fourth quarter even.
Wow.
I'm blanking on what part of the game it was, but probably went out for about, I don't know, let's say 3 or 4 plays, and Joe just called some plays as he went to. I mean, we prepare for those things. Joe always has a handful of plays in his back pocket where if he can't hear, he knows what to get to immediately. And he did a great job. He did a great job not panicking, managing the calls and getting a few out. And then once we had a break in the action, we got his helmet fixed.
So Joe Burrow, with all the things that we're talking about, the tough day to communicate and recognize and communicate things and all that, gets sacked 9 times. And that's never just all the offensive line. I mean, everybody that's involved in the protection packages on those to handle pressures and everything, offensive line, running backs, tight ends, receivers have to get open, the whole 9 yards. Quarterback has to get the ball out of his hand. But 9 times he gets sacked, and then 2 other times, nullified by delay a game and I think a timeout.
Yep.
He still goes 28 for 37 for 348 yards. No touchdowns. The interception, obviously, it was not his fault. Samaje had a tough time on that one throw. A great quarterback rating, still a 93.1. And the thing that impressed me the most as a former lineman, he's getting hit. And, a lot of times, even the great quarterbacks, it's like, now you start to affect them. You can see them kind of assume the fetal. I've seen Tom Brady sack himself before he gets hit, and there was nobody around him to even sack him. Joe Burrow doesn't even flinch a bit. And it's like he doesn't chew the lineman out. He doesn't chew P. Ryan out. He goes to the sideline, sits down on the bench, puts the headset on to communicate with you, with the iPad, with his computer. It's unbelievable to watch this guy. He is amazing.
He does a great job handling adversity, whether it's sacks or hits or missed throws or interceptions or whatever it may be. Nothing bothers him. Yep. And he just moves on to the next play. It's a really unique mentality for a quarterback. You don't see it very often. Guys respond that way and never get rattled. He does not ever get rattled, and he never gets mad at anybody. He just knows, everybody knows that the play level is expected to be high. And when they make a mistake, they know he doesn't have to say anything. And he expects them to go get it fixed and do better the next one. And he'll do the same. And so that's the kind of guy you like playing for, kind of guy that makes everybody better because they're all trying to meet the same standard that he's on. And so it's fun to have that kind of mindset at quarterback. I think the guys love playing for him because of it, and they play hard for him. And not every day is going to be perfect, but he does a great job responding when things aren't perfect. And he's going to make a lot of plays, and then occasionally he takes some sacks, but it doesn't bother him. We're in win or go home mode now. There's really you're not saving yourself for much at this point. We're trying to get to the next game, and it's going to be take everything we got, and you're going to take some sacks and some hits. It's part of football, and Joe relishes that aspect of it.
10 games last year, and in that 10th game, he has the knee injury, ACL, MCL, reconstruction, goes through the rehab process, grinds it, and comes back earlier than everybody anticipated at a very high level. But at training camp, he was having some, claustrophobia a little bit. Close quarters were starting to bother him some. He got through it quickly, though. And to see him now playing the way he's playing, as courageously and as tough as he's playing, how tough-minded does this guy have to be in that situation, in August and do what he's doing now? That's crazy.
I can't speak to that. I've never experienced it.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know what that's like. I just know that he's got a really unique toughness, and he's mentally tough. He's physically tough, and he can grind it out as good as anybody. He's got an incredible work ethic, and that's really what's carried him this far. His willingness to put in the work and do everything possible to get to the position that he knows he's capable of being in. And he really doesn't ever at any point think about much else but football. I mean, he's been singularly focused from the time training camp started till now. And it's shown. I mean, his play and his performance has shown that that's how he approaches the game of football. It's been pretty remarkable when you think about all the things he's overcome to get to this point, and he's done a phenomenal job.
All right, so let's transition. Let's close out the Titans victory with Joe had those numbers we talked about, and Jamar Chase targeted 6 times, 5 catches, 109 yards, 21.8 average, 57-yard long, and that was a lot of yards after catch. I mean, he made the corner miss, and he just flips the football field by over half a field. So let's go back to the Chiefs regular season game. Joe's 30 for 39, 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, quarterback rating of 148. Chase targeted 12 times, 11 catches, 266 yards, 72-yard touchdown, averaging over 24 yards a catch, 3 touchdown catches total. The deal is some things are true no matter what. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connection happens no matter what.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to know that they can go out there and find completions and find yards and find explosive plays, no matter what the circumstance, whatever the coverage, however they're trying to play them, they find each other in the right moments for big plays. Jamar's biggest play came at the end of the game there to get us into field goal range, and then that throw we hadn't completed. We had it open a couple times. T dropped a very similar one on the sideline, and Jamar came with a big catch there to put us in range to go win the game. And you just know that they're always, when the game's on the line, they're going to make the play that they need to make, and they've done it consistently throughout the course of the season. 3rd and 27 against Kansas City, that puts us in a great spot to go down and seal the game.
Yep.
Just they've done a great job executing in big moments, and they just go play ball. They don't think about the moment being too big. They just, they know on the same page, and they can go make a play, and then Joe's going to put it in the right spot, and Jamar's going to go get it.
That 3rd and 27 had to have the analytics experts, their minds must have been blown. I mean, they must have short-circuited because the odds of converting that one had to be minuscule. Yeah, and boom, those guys go out and get it done. I mean, do you anticipate, it's a copycat league. Steve Spagnuolo obviously has been around a long time. He has what he feels he needs to do with the personnel he has in Kansas City. Do you think that, or the Titans maybe a little bit of blueprint with what they did on the back end and some of the things they did on the at the line of scrimmage, trying to confuse and that sort of thing? Do you think Spagnuolo tries to mimic or copy any of that, or do you think he does what he does and he blitzes the percentage that he feels he should blitz, or do you think he alters things?
I think there'll be game plan wrinkles. As they say, you dance with the one that brought you. Everything's gotten both of our teams to this spot, so yep. You're not going to see too much venturing from what they're good at, what their core is.
Right.
But there'll be some wrinkles. They'll have something for us. Just like we will. There'll be something that they haven't seen, and there'll be something that we haven't seen, and that's just kind of how it works. It's almost like a divisional game because we just played them a month ago, and they've seen us once before, and we've, you adjust and adapt, and you try to handle the things that gave you problems the first time, and try to find ways you can exploit something else the next time around. So. How they decide to play us will probably still be pretty much what we see on tape, and then they'll have something for us, I'm sure, game plan wise, particularly on 3rd down or the red zone areas where you see a little more game plan type of things. But I would imagine that they'll, when a receiver does what he did to them the first time, that you try to have some answer for him, whatever it is. You're not going to do the same exact thing again, I wouldn't assume.
Right.
So we'll be prepared for whatever that is when it rolls out there on Sunday.
You said this all year, Coach. I mean, everybody in this league has got great players. They've got pass rushers. Chiefs, no exception. Chris Jones, 9 sacks, one of the great interior players in the National Football League. Reed had a sack against the Bills in the first playoff game. Frank Clark, Melvin Ingram. These guys have pass rushers, and that's going to be paramount to be able to control these guys up front and give Joe not only time but space. I mean, when Joe has vision, when he has space, like on that 3rd and 19 you're talking about, man, he had vision, he had space, and he dropped a dime. I mean, it was right there. Yep. I mean, that's what has to happen, right?
Yeah, and they've, there's a reason why we're both in the championship game. We both, I think both teams are really talented. I think we both belong in this game, and the Chiefs are no different than anybody else. They get by because they can rush the passer, and their corners are good players. We had a good day against them, but those guys are proud too. They're going to be hell bent on not letting that happen again. Just because that's how it works in the NFL. You don't get beat twice.
Sure.
And their front's good. Chris Jones gave us problems in the first game. He was disruptive. He was disruptive in the pocket. Melvin Ingram and Frank Clark are as good edge rushers as you'll find. They're a little long in the tooth these days. They've been doing it for a long time. Where sometimes those guys are a little more scary because they got all the tricks and the tricks of the trade in their pocket. They're not just relying on pure physical talent. They get by on intelligence and craft as well. But they're both really good players, and Jerron Reed's playing really good for him inside. So, and then obviously Spagnuolo is an exotic blitzer. He's got all kinds of different blitzes. They blitzed us pretty dang good the first game,
right.
And so you just got to be ready for whatever that is. And they might zero blitz you, they might overload blitz you, whatever it is. They'll have something for us that they'll try to get home on, and we got to be ready for that. And I'm sure that you combine all those factors, and we got our hands full.
Yeah, I mean, this will be a very, very, very interesting football game. We'll get you out on this one, Coach. In a game like this, you watched these two quarterbacks, Allen and Mahomes. I mean, just a track meet. It's like nobody turned the football over. They played a very, very clean, smart game offensively, both of them, and you haven't been turning the football over. I mean, it's going to be in the regular season match, no turnovers by either team in that 34-31 masterpiece. It was a hell of a football game. You feel like almost third down is important, but it's almost like, depending on circumstance, obviously, but it's four down. You got to think about it on fourth down because you don't want to punt the football. I mean, you have to almost score on every possession. Do you feel like pressure, like these guys can score every darn possession? If we don't get any turnovers, man, I'm not sure we even want to punt the football. Does that enter your mind at all, or you just got to?
Well, we do a really good job with Sam Francis doing the analytics stuff on when and where the appropriate times to be aggressive are. Where the fourth down models would say is an appropriate time where you're going to increase your chances of winning a game. Anytime you got a great quarterback on the other side, it's probably I was going to lean a little bit more aggressive in spots where it would make sense because you're trying to not to give them possessions and you're trying to continue to go score points. Because the reality of it is you got to score points against the Chiefs to win. You know, we had to score over 30 to win the last time. Last you saw the game the other night with Buffalo, they had to score over 30 to be in it. It's just kind of how that team works. They're explosive. They do a great job on offense. They're really hard to contain. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is going to his fourth straight AFC Championship game. They're the class of the AFC. You know, they're the team that if you want to get to the Super Bowl, you got to go through Kansas City, and that's always been the case for the last 4 years, and it probably will be for some time. And hopefully, sooner than later, people are having to come through Cincinnati to get to the championship, to the Super Bowl. So, but that's what you got to do. You got to go play against those guys, and they're great. It's a great team. And they're explosive, and you're going to have to make decisions sometimes that are more aggressive than maybe you would in a normal game when you're playing against Patrick Mahomes and their ability to score fast. But we do a great job preparing for those spots and knowing when and where is the appropriate time to do that.
Yeah, like you said, Coach, this is the fourth AFC Championship game in a row they're hosting. They're 7-1 in their last 8 playoff games at Arrowhead. They have set the standard. There's no question, but you guys have done some firsts this year. First win in 31 seasons in the playoffs. First road win in franchise history, 0-7. Got that done on the road. The final first, Coach, is beat the Chiefs. Now, we won an AFC Championship game before in franchise history, but never won the Super Bowl. How about that first? That first would be the ultimate first. And personally, I'd like to see it against the 49ers because they got 2 rings we'd like to have. I'd love to see us and the 49ers in California in SoFi Stadium going at it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun for the history of it all too. I know.
No doubt.
But I like our team's in a good place. They're not afraid of these guys. They'll be ready to play. It's going to be a hell of a game, and I can't wait. I wish it was Sunday tomorrow, but we got a whole week of prep to get through and practice to work through and get a chance to go get our plan worked out and be ready to go on Sunday.
Coach, it's fun to watch this football team play. They've got an earned confidence that is well-deserved. And the reason they have it, because you guys have put them in position to succeed as a coaching staff. And it's been just a lot of fun watching it and put together another good one, sir.
You got it.
I can't wait to see this action. This is going to be some fun.
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Brakes? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out FirstStarLogistics.com.